It's just tragic. It's terribly sad. We have a Phoenix police officer who's lost his life, shot in the line of duty. We were talking about this just the other day, Bruce. A guy who just got out of jail wanted to steal a car, and the police were called, and 2 officers arrive on the scene, and there's a chase, and this guy just out of jail trying to steal a car shoots 2 officers, and we have one of the officers, Zane Coolidge, has died from his injuries days after the shooting. And man, I mean, dude, I'm looking at this guy. He is a 20-something-year-old guy. He has to be, right?
A father, a son, a brother.
Oh, gosh.
And, a devastated family. And a devastated family of law enforcement as well.
It's never easy. It's never easy. It is one of the toughest jobs that you can do, being a police officer. But I think that you're just cut from a different cloth. And, you can call it a calling. You can call it, I want to help people. But when you have an officer that, leaves home, goes to work, you are never guaranteed to go home. And this man is not going to go home. And you and I talked about it the other day. His injuries were pretty catastrophic, obviously catastrophic, and he's lost his life. And he leaves behind a wife and a baby girl. Mm-hmm. He leaves behind a wife and a baby girl, and it is just so sad. It is so sad. He was with the department for 5 years, and he died from his injuries today. Man.
Yeah, there's no silver lining in any of this. The other officer was released, is going to recover fully from his injuries.
Look how young he is.
The perpetrator was caught almost immediately. We'll never see the light of day again. But yeah, despite several days in the hospital and valiant efforts on the part of the doctors, the injuries were too much to overcome.
It's been a really rough week. I mean, we've talked about the Georgia shooting, where 2 teachers were killed and 2 students were killed. And on the same week, we discovered 2 Phoenix police officers were shot, and one was not able to recover. One of the things that I like to do is I go to the funerals, because you and I are sitting here and we're looking at the picture of this young man, and I just can't say it enough how young he is, and it's like he looks like our son. Mm-hmm. He looks like the age of our son. And when I go to these funerals, I try and learn about who the officer was.
The person.
Yeah, because I do think that gets lost.
Yeah.
And, to be honest, do you know a lot about this person who put his life on the line for us?
I do not.
I don't either. And so that's one of the reasons that I usually go to these funerals, because I want to hear the family speak. As and part of me is like, I probably shouldn't be here. I didn't know this person. But you kind of get to know that person through the eulogies, through, unfortunately, other people's mourning. But I think it is so important for us, finding this news out now. And when I say us, I mean you and me, I mean everybody listening, that we find out about who he was, that he's just not another cop that was unfortunately killed.
Right.
Like, can we remember something about Officer Zane Coolidge? Is there, and hopefully we can bring that to you. Hopefully we can bring that to you. Because he deserves to be remembered. And it's just, I mean, I know that I'm kind of circling here, but like, he's so young, and a wife and a baby girl. It's just so heartbreaking. It is absolutely just crushing for this city today.
Chief Sullivan, interim Chief Sullivan, I use that, made the point that officers have been met with gunfire 11 times this year.
Yeah.
Phoenix, that's just Phoenix PD, have been met with gunfire 11 times.
Right.
And every time somebody pulls a trigger, there's no telling where the bullet goes and no telling what it can do.
Right.
And despite training, despite bulletproof vests, despite all of that, there is no guarantee. There is no guarantee. And it's something where you and I both have friends in law enforcement, and I understand. And sadly, it's stories like this that drive it home. I understand why my friends who are cops, even when we're off duty doing something, they're more vigilant. They're more aware of the surroundings. They've
seen it all.
Skeptical. They start with skepticism and work backwards from there. You
right,
have to. You cannot assume that everybody has good intentions.
Right, because the world is a dangerous place, and they're in the middle of it protecting us. And so we don't see that world all the time.
That's all they do.
That's all they do.
All they do. I rode with Phoenix PD out of the Sunny Slope station right over here by the station, and I'd heard like a lot of the phrases and things before, but it really was all they do is run from one person's bad day to another person's bad day. Like all you're doing is responding to calls of people who are in need, and in need for a variety of reasons.
Are in a serious situation that absolutely could be dangerous.
And could turn deadly at any moment.
Right. If you're just joining us, a Phoenix police officer has lost his life. Wife and a baby girl. His name was Zane Coolidge. He was an officer, 5-year veteran with the department. We've talked about how this all happened, and I think that it's worth bringing up.
Mm-hmm. The night of the shooting.
Yeah.
Got it.
The man, the murderer, who decided, I got out of jail, now I'm going to steal a car.
And by the way, a career criminal. I don't know any other way to describe that.
Where I'm going.
Oh, okay. I didn't mean to jump.
No. A violent criminal history, and we still had to let him out of jail. Like, I'm for second chances, right? I think we all should be. How many chances are you going to give a guy? How many chances are you going to give a guy? Previously convicted for attempted burglary, drug-related crimes, other parts of the state. This guy has been a criminal since all the way back in 2007, and probably before that, just got away with it.
Well, and I think one of the frustrating things, and I know this is frustrating for law enforcement today, is that the guy that was arrested, the suspect in the shooting, had at least 2 prior offenses where he'd attacked or assaulted police officers.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So this wasn't
it's not a one-time thing.
Yeah.
No, this is a violent criminal
who had a problem with authority, a problem with police officers.
And we still gave him another chance.
And he got a gun. And managed to get a gun in his hand.
Managed to get a gun.
You add all those things together, and sadly,
the guy should never have been let out. And I understand that the law says, all right, you've done your time. Now we have to let you back out. But you just know that something bad is going to happen when you let a guy like that out. So here's my ask.
Okay.
Here, I have an ask. So if you see a police officer this weekend, go up to him or her and tell them you appreciate them. Because every cop feels this. Every cop knows that could have been them at one point or could be them at one point. And just tell them you appreciate them. If you see them in a coffee house or whatever, buy their cup of coffee. And just say, hey, I know we had a death. My goodness, our family we're all devastated. Tell a cop that you appreciate them.
You'll see them wearing the black stripe across their badges.
Yeah.
All law enforcement agencies will be doing that.
Right. So if you're out this weekend,
Officer Coolidge.
Yeah. So Officer Zane Coolidge has died from his injuries days after the shooting. It's a tragic loss for Arizona. Just a tragic, sad day. Very, very sad.
Agreed.
My goodness.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.